Okay. Welcome back to No Competition. And if you're joining us for the first time, I'm Liz.
And I'm Leiah.
And we are here with one goal, to bridge the gap between rivalry and success. So last episode, we kind of gave you a rundown of who we are, who our businesses are, a little bit of everything all rolled into one. And today, we're going to be diving into the world of Leiah, Bloom Beauty Bar, and her very exciting adventure, Bloom Etc.
Bloom Etc.
So tell me, let's start from square one.
Okay.
Since this whole episode is all yours, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with hair school or like who you were as a baby? Like we have all the time in the world.
Maybe not as a baby. Great life. I can give a little background on that.
For sure.
My mom was a single mom. So there was that, woman empowerment there, raising a child on her own. And then I just recently had a reading done, and they were telling me that my woman empowerment didn't come from just me.
Or just your mom either.
Or just my mom. It went deeper than that. Like my grandmother and then my great-grandmother. Back when my great-grandmother, back then, you didn't leave your husband if he put his hands on you or abused you. You stayed with them, and come to find out, my Nana packed her shit up and left with her kids and raised them on her own. So, it's in my blood.
What time frame are we talking? Like, what decade was that?
Gosh. Okay, wow.
It sounds like it was probably like the, 50s?
Yeah, I would definitely say, because my grandma that is still with us today, Peggy, she is in her 70s, like late 70s, so mid to late 70s. And then, so my Nana passed when she was I think 86. So definitely way back when.
When that's not talked about.
Yeah, and so I was like, this is really cool. So that was baby life me, women empowerment. That I didn't know about, but pretty cool.
We touched on high school a little bit and how, bullying was a thing and...
Totally sucked.
Yeah, totally rough. But you came out, on top, at least you had the mindset that you wanted to survive, which is not something that everyone can say whenever they're bullied in that situation.
Yeah, I definitely would have to attest that to my parents, never giving up on me. Because there were so many times, when you're a kid, you don't know what you're doing or who you want to be. You just think you think you know everything. And so I just kept getting pushed down and pushed down. I had, in high school, I touched about it before, I had a track coach. He was my cross-country coach, and he was also a basketball referee, and he would tell me all the time, there's no way you're making it. There's no way you're making it. And what's so crazy, the other day, I took my husband and some friends to drag brunch for Valentine's Day at Crocs. It was awesome.
I bet they were really excited about that.
I mean, he did take his shirt off and made lots of money for the queens, so it was pretty awesome. I have some clips of that we could share.
I'm very excited to see these.
It'd be so good. So my basketball coach was there, and he was like, you were a mean ass.
Hold on, your basketball coach was at Drag You to Brunch?
Yes. Crazy. So
I love how things come together.
Yes. Yeah. So he was like, oh, wow, I didn't even recognize you for a minute. We were really close. His daughter was my best friend, my daughter's godmom. And I hadn't seen him in years. And he was like, yeah, you were a mean ass. And I was like, I know. I was like, I'm not like that anymore. High school was the start to me becoming this rough, tough, you're not breaking my shell kind of thing. Because when I grew up, it was you walk the walk and talk the talk. That's what you did, and to survive. So I just remember so many girls just not liking me, or just even guys just spreading rumors and all this stuff. And so I just kept building this shell of fuck you kind of thing. I'm not going to let you.
Survival mode.
Yeah, survival mode. So straight out of high school, and especially having an adult tell you you're never going to make it. Why would you do that to a teenage that is yeah, maybe I'm an asshole, but maybe try to guide me versus I
wonder if some form of that was I don't know, reverse psychology.
Maybe.
I still don't agree with it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you should meet him out at Drag You to Brunch one more time and just be like, hey.
Well, no, he was the great one. He was good. he would tell me that I was a mean ass. He would tell me and his daughter to get off this, like, he would try to put somebody else in our place, and I'd be like, I'm not leaving. I'm still playing. And he'd be like, come on. He still had our basketball from state. It was really cool. Like, I had my little signatures with stars next to hearts and stars. But then I think that led into, before I graduated high school, I got a job at Hooters of Kitty Hawk, and it's no longer there. Nothing lived in that building. And so I was working there, 17 years old. I graduated at 17 too. And I was, like, me and my one friend, we would go into school and we'd be drinking beers in the parking lot before we'd walk in and be like, we don't want to be here anymore. And we'd leave. And then I went and got a job at Hooters as a hostess. And that is where I kind of learned about drugs and more alcohol. That was the first time I went to this party with this one girl, and I'll never forget it. There was all this white stuff laying on the table, and I was like, what is that? And they're like, oh, girl, you don't know what that is?
This is terrifying.
Yeah, I was 17, and I was like, no. And then they told me, and I was like, well, that's the stuff that you see in movies. Like, I didn't even think that was real. Like,
like, am I in Pulp Fiction?
Yes, where am I? So I was just, like, super weirded out by it, and then I tried. I, like, started hanging out with all these people, and I hated it, but I still would do it because I was with these people it was all they did, and they welcomed me in, and it was the cool thing to do. And then I met my daughter's dad, which he lived in the house above where I was renting a place. Oh, this is a weird story. We'll have to save that for another time.
And this is what, like 19?
I got pregnant at 18, had her at 19. So I had my daughter Riley at 19. I got pregnant. This guy upstairs, he was a total jerk, didn't like him. I broke his ankle or something while we were playing basketball because he was being a jerk. And then I ended up taking care of him because I felt bad. And then we ended up in a relationship. And he was like 10 years older than me. I was 18. Lived on the beach road. Thought I was so cool, surfing every day. Having people knock on my door at 4 a.m. telling me, hey, Leah, you want to go do some drugs? Blah, 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 stupid stuff. So I kind of just like went down this downhill slope. Got pregnant. Stopped smoking. Stopped drinking. Had my daughter. That was a really, really, really hard time in my life. I was abused, not only by him, but I was also abused by his friends. I'll never forget the time I was like 7 months pregnant with Riley, and I got ripped out of the car because he headbutted me in the face, and they pulled me out and started fighting me, and then they all started fighting. I was 7 months pregnant. So I was going through this, like, there's actually one of my girlfriends, it's called, oh gosh, I will think of her name and I'll get the clip to it, but she wrote an article about me and like my past and like overcoming addiction and alcohol and abuse. And my parents didn't know this was going on until a Christmas party one year. I called my mom and dad. I was at a gas station. He got really, really drunk at a Christmas party, and we left, and then he like straight up just punched me in the face because I was mad at him that he had the cab drop us off like 3 houses down from our house. And I was like, why? My mom was babysitting Riley. Riley was 3 months old. And she was in Moayac. We were the Outer Banks, and my mom paid for my phone bill at the house, all this stuff. And he just went crazy, punched me in the face, and then we got in the house, and the abuse continued. And I finally got away, ran to a gas station and hid in there, called my mom. My mom came and got me in the middle of the night, my mom and dad. They had no idea what was going on, and they saved my life that night. Like, I've definitely called the cops on him multiple times, but never pressed charges. And apparently if you don't press charges, it doesn't count. So even if you're scared for your life, if you do not press charges, they look at you like you're a crying wolf every single time.
I do.
And it's just like, I was young. I didn't know any better, and I just knew that I did not want my daughter to live that life, and my parents came and helped me. And little did I know I had postpartum depression.
Yeah, the things they don't tell you whenever you have babies.
Why don't they tell you this stuff? So, postpartum depression. Didn't know I had that. There were days that I would lock myself in the closet, and my daughter would be at the door banging, crying for me, and I would just shut the door and try to act like she wasn't there. I lived with my mom at this time. My parents were the biggest help. Honestly, I really don't think I would be here today if it wasn't for my parents because they like took me in and took care of me and made sure like when I was going through whatever I was going through, I never put Riley in harm's way. I would be with Riley all day. Her first like 2 years of her life, I left him when she was 3 months old, lived with my parents, actually got a court ordered. I had to live with my parents until I found a doctor is what my lawyer said to like help me get my shit together.
Totally fair.
Be able to, yeah, pretty much get a sugar daddy kind of thing is what they told me. But they took me in and took care of me and Riley. My parents helped me raise my daughter, paid for daycare, everything so I could work. But there would be nights where I wouldn't come home for 2 days. My mom would be like, where are you? Your kid's here. Like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, not answering because I didn't want to answer to it. And then that's when I found out. I talked to a therapist and they're like, you have postpartum depression, like beyond. So try to get some help there. And if it wasn't for my parents, I probably would be in a ditch somewhere or still partying, and my kid would be great because my parents would be taking care of her, but she wouldn't know who her mom was, and I wouldn't want her to know who her mom was. So I kind of woke up and was like, I don't want her to ever feel like I felt, so let's get it together. And I did. My mom, my biggest fan, she, as much as I hate feeling, I don't like to cry. I don't like to get emotional. Like, if you hear me slowing down, it's because I'm trying not to cry. She would always be like, I know you're better. I know you can do more. And I hated it. I'd be like, oh, don't say that to me because I'd get emotional and I didn't like that. But her doing that
Kept you in check.
Kept me in check and pushed me to be a better mom and be a better person. And then I got my own place, at first in North Carolina. And then from there, I had full custody of Riley at this time because we had joined, like my parents helped me with my custody at first. Then I moved to Virginia, got a place in Virginia, a little townhouse off Chadwick Drive, over off of Great Neck. And then I focused on myself for seven months. I literally was like, I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm not going out. I'm going to focus on myself. I need to figure out like what I need to do. I need to focus on my kid, doing hair, working in salons of just like craziness and trying to figure out how I was going to work. Like literally vodka was like pouring out of me. Like, what was I doing? I don't even know why clients stay with me. Love you guys. Thank you for sticking through it. But then I was working at Ron Paul Salon, and I met my husband. He wasn't my husband then, but one of my friends, Sherry, you probably know Sherry, she got pregnant, and he was her client. So he ended up in my chair. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn, this kid's cute, but also weird, like military shoes, military clothes.
Straight edge.
Yeah, like no tattoos, like wanted that pretty boy haircut, and I was like, mm-mm.
Well, it seems like there's a lot of things that like roads that crossed to get you to Chad, which I cannot wait to hear that story. But tell me a little bit first about like why and when you made the decision to even get into hair. Like what even sparked that? Because we went from Hooters to hair.
I actually worked at a car wash, washed pools, or cleaned pools. I just had a ton of jobs there. In the Outer Banks, there really wasn't anything to do. And then my mom was like, what are you going to do with your life? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, well, what do you like? I thought hair school was going to be the easy way out to make money. Then I learned you have to learn science, physiology, anatomy, and I was mad. I was like, this sucks. Why did I sign up for this? And I kind of screwed that up, too. It took me a very long time to graduate because then I met some friends and we were partying. I was like, I'm not going to school. Then I had to pay all this extra money. How much was it a day if you missed school? Like,
oh my gosh, I don't even remember. But it was at least like, I feel like it was like $85 or $100.
Yeah, it was.
For sure.
A day. So.
And this is when tuition was like relatively cheap compared to what it is now.
Yeah. I think my school cost me $18,000 then, and that's because I got a grant. So it was just like, I was kind of fucking up there. And then I was like, all right, well, I gotta just do this. My mom kind of talked me into it. I used to do my friend's hair on the back of the toilet or my own. So I didn't really have a passion for it, but I didn't know I had a passion for it.
I have a very similar story. We'll talk about me next time. But yeah, very much similar. Like my mom talked me into it too.
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad she did. Except for hair school does not tell you all the stuff that comes with being a hairstylist.
No, it sure doesn't. It's a lot like having kids.
Yeah. Surprise.
So our moms definitely helped a lot. But at that point, like, what made you pick Paul Mitchell, Rudy and Kelly versus like Empire or whatever else?
I don't think I really knew about the other schools. However, my dream when I was like in high school, I used to make my own clothes. I really wanted to be a fashion designer. I couldn't draw bodies though, so I think that was part of the job. And then I wanted to go to the best school of the best. And when I had my daughter, I realized, oh shit, you probably can't go to New York City or LA or whatever to become this. So let's try to find the best school for hair. So I picked the Paul Mitchell, Rudy and Kelly school, and that was not what I expected it to be.
It never is.
Well, yeah, and then we went to the first school, the OG, that like our blow dryers would be on, and they wouldn't work.
Sounds a lot like my first salon.
Yes, yeah, or my first apartment.
Yeah.
They're like, your blow dryer is way too strong for this building. I'm like, what?
Why are the lights out?
Yeah.
That was rough, but I think it helped pave the way for it, if nothing else, appreciation.
100%.
Like taking, I think it was like Christmas break, is like whenever we, I don't know, had a week or two off, they opened the new school and then we were able to go in and like, oh.
I think I got like a week or two there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then we were like, if anybody complains about this school,
Everything was sparkly.
it was beautiful. There was like a clock in, like there was like,
It was legit.
it was beautiful.
It wasn't like fold-up tables. And
Yes. We had like, the washroom. It was beautiful. So I definitely think that paved my way to, one, appreciate, and two, hair school is, there's bullies in hair school too. So I had this one girl, she was literally like, I said it in the last podcast, she was stealing from me. Legit, I found my camera in her bag. One, she made me look out to be this like terrible person, and then I was like, I'm telling you, she stole my camera. Like, I'm telling you. I got in trouble for blaming her for stealing it, and then she was getting her hair done one day, and in her bag is my camera. And I was like, hey, can I look at your camera? She's like, sure. Start flipping. I took the SD card out and went through the internal memory because I knew I had used like the actual picture of my husband, or not my husband, my kid, my dad, my mom. I was like, weird, how do you have pictures of my mom and dad on your camera? She was like, you just put that on there. And I was like, I got in trouble for that too.
oh my God.
So I was like, and then I had a mean girl teacher. I loved all of our teachers. There was just one that was, she was another one that would tell me I was never going to make it. Ever. She always told me I wasn't going to make it. And I was like, that's when physiology anatomy test came around and I got like a 98 on it. And I was like,
I do know things.
I do. I can study. I can be good at this. But I also I thought that I was going to love things that I didn't love in hair school. Like I was like, oh, I'm going to love color. And then I hated color. And then I was like, I only loved haircuts. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to love this. I'm going to love that. Updos, I got made fun of for my first updo. It literally had like a bow hair and like a horsetail braid on it. Like, it's terrible. And then updos, I'm actually like phenomenal at them now. And that's how I ended up in the bridal world. But, yeah, when I graduated, I went into a salon immediately. Did I talk about that in the last one? How they pinned me and my friend against each other?
Oh, I don't know. I know this story, but I don't know if we know this story.
So, just, I feel like this is what paved me to not, like, it helped me be a mean girl, but it now makes me see that, like, being a mean girl doesn't get you anywhere in life. So I applied to multiple salons, and so did one of my best friends, and we were really close in hair school, and it was like, oh my God, you applied for that job? Me too. Tell me what happens. They told us both there was only one position available, and they would call whoever got it. And so we were both like freaking out because we knew it was the day, and I got a call, and I was like, oh my God, now I have to talk to my friend that didn't get this job. And so we call each other, and she's like, I was like, hey, and she's like, hey, and we're like trying to read each other out. We both got the job. It was like, why would you do that to us? Like, fresh out of hair school, thinking we know everything. And so then we worked together, and they would literally try to pin us against each other. Like, we would do each other's hair, and instead of like telling us that it wasn't, like, there's a better way of going about doing each other's hair, they'd be like, oh my God, you made her look like butter. It looks like shit. And then they would talk about it behind each other, our backs. And then they'd be like, did you know what she said about you? Did you know what she said about you? And then we'd call each other and be like, what is going, we literally were like getting mad at each other because they were saying things that we never even said to each other. It was insane. So, I left there. That was not a pleasant experience. They literally threw all my shit in a box, scissors, everything, just threw it in a box and told me to come get it from the front door. So that was real fun. Those people were as old as my mother. And I'm like, is that what this life is going to be like in this industry? Like, scary.
Until we change it, yeah.
We're going to change it. We are.
We are. I want to talk more about Chad. So fast forward a little bit to the salon that you were working in whenever your co-worker got pregnant. Yep. And had to take on one of her clients.
So that was great. I got this really good looking guy in my chair. And he didn't really talk a lot. He had like the military looking clothes, no tattoos. Totally not my like type of guy. But Randy that worked the front desk, she was so funny. And we would always be like, hate to see you go, but love to watch you leave, because he was cute, you know. And he never requested me, ever. And it would drive me batshit. I'd be like, dude, Annie tipped $5. And I'd be like, man, this guy's cheap and doesn't talk. I have to like force him to talk to me, but
like, I should not be working this hard for this.
Yeah. So I was like, one day he was in my chair and I was like, hey, do you not have a phone? And he was like, what? And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, do you not give a shit who cuts your hair? And he was like, no, you always cut my hair. And I was like, yeah, that's because they look at your history and see who cut your hair last, and then they put you in my chair if I'm available. And he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah. Well, me and my old boss, which is now one of my very best friends, we got into a fight or whatever, and we were like, I was like, I'm leaving. And she's like, leave. You don't need to work here anymore. And we just got in this like dramatic, like, we didn't want to work together anymore. And I left and went back to my old salon. And then I called all of my clients except for him because he never booked me. I was like, I'm not calling you. And then one of my girlfriends was working there still, and she's like, guess who's cutting Chad's hair? And I was like, oh, hell no. So I texted his phone. Or no, I called. He will tell you to this day that I said, if you want a haircut or something. I did not say that. I called and said, hey, it's your favorite hairstylist. I opened my own spot. This is my first time ever booth renting. If you want to come see your favorite hairstylist, get your hair cut, I'll be here. I get a text immediately afterwards. Hey, I'm at work. I thought I lost you. I tried to find you. They wouldn't tell me where you were at. I just got my hair cut. I would love to come see you, blah, blah, blah. Then we never stopped talking from that day.
And then it was love forever.
It was love forever. We're married, have a son, have a daughter. Like,
I feel like he's probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the driving force behind all of the successes, apart from who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Clearly this is all you, but like when you have that kind of stability and you have that kind of cheerleader behind you that aren't parents.
Yes.
Like, tell me what kind of influence he had on this, on your events, on Bloom, etc., which we're really excited.
Yeah, super excited. So, poor guy. Oh, gosh. Poor guy. He is like a trooper. My husband's military. I'm a military brat. My husband's military. He's great. He's gone a lot. Just from things in my past, it was very hard for me to be in a relationship with somebody and trust somebody that was such a good person. I'm like, something's got to be wrong with him. So I gave him a run for his money and used a lot of his money. Not on purpose. He would just I'd be like, hey, I want to open this salon. He'd be like, okay, let's do it. And then it was like, I was like, I don't want this salon anymore. I hate this. Like, can we move? And he was like, oh my God, what is happening right now? So he was my backer. And then I was like, oh, I want to do this job. And I didn't know what I wanted to be or who I wanted to be. I was just like a lost, like, I'm in a place in my life where I don't love hair. I don't love what I'm doing. But I also didn't know what I was doing. And I was super young, bartending, figuring things out. And when that salon, we put all this money into the salon. And he had my back, and then I was like, I don't like this. It's not going the way I thought.
Was this prim and proper?
Yes, prim and proper. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to sell this salon to my friend. And then she ended up not wanting to buy it. She wanted to just turn it into her own thing. So he had my back, but he was also like, oh, gosh. Like,
I love her so much. What am I getting into?
But what did I do? Why did I let her do this? And then, I had another business venture. I was like, I'm going to sell LuLaRoe. That's when we moved to San Diego. Because I didn't know who I was in.
Dude, no judgment. I have a lot of good friends that make a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. I sold it. If you ask anybody, my clients, still to this day, I have people trickling in the door and they're like, girl, I bought LuLaRoe from you. Why'd you stop? You were so amazing. I'm like, it just wasn't for me. It was just so much. I was always on my phone and computer doing it. And so he was like, wait, how much money did you put into this? I was like, yeah. Because you had to buy a certain amount to stay relevant. And so he was like, wait, what? He was like, I didn't know about this part. And I was like, yeah, sorry. Forgive me. Love you lots. I'm your wife. So he was like, okay, maybe we don't have any more business adventures for a while. So he was supportive, but also like, hey, let's be smart about this. Kind of what you do for me when I'm like, let's go.
Like, yes, let's take notes first and like pump the brakes.
I'm like, I have all these grand ideas and I'm ready to do them, but I'm like, I will jump right into that. So yeah, he's always had my back and he was a little nervous about me doing I was booth renting when I moved back here.
From San Diego.
Yeah. San Diego was a little crazy. I was actually a salon educator and a manager of a salon there, and that was scary. Daycare is really expensive, and I was new and trying to teach girls while I had somebody else being mean to the girls as I was teaching them, so it was just really hard, and I'm like...
Yeah, but totally paves the way for what you're doing now.
It did.
You have that mentor piece, and then you have, like, the anti-piece.
Yes.
Yes. Because I feel like I am a firm believer of, it's just as important to know what you don't like as what you do like.
That's how we found good men.
Yeah.
You learn. You learn what you love and learn what you don't love. So, yeah, and then I came here, and I was still in San Diego, and that was my husband. He was having a bad day, and he's like, I told him, I was like, he dropped the key in the engine.
What?
The key to our car in the engine, and we can't get it out. So, super fun. Okay, anyway. So I was like, have a better day. And now he's telling me have a good podcasting. So, being cute.
Hey, Chad.
Liz says hi. So I was in San Diego, and I was like, I'm booking a Sola Suites or a Phoenix Suites. I paid like $350 retainer to some guy. Who knows if he was really the Phoenix Suite guy, because I never got my money back, because apparently he left. It was super fun. But booked it there, and then I got a call from an old friend that I worked at the first place I ever booth rented at. And she's like, what are you doing? Do not go in there by yourself. Your clients need to be around people. Like, let's like bring us together. We're all about women empowerment, da-da-da. And I was like, okay, like this sounds cool. And she's like, also, I made this makeup studio. You can use this makeup studio, blah, blah. I was like super hyped on this. I went and visited. While I was looking for a house here. I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to have this spot. They walked over and showed me this area. I was like super stoked on it. Show up, and that spot's not available to me, but I can booth rent.
Right.
I was like, cool. I was like, you know what, whatever. It's fine. I'll do my clients in my chair. It just became really confusing, and that was like one of my things. I was like, I can let this go. Like, it'll work out in the end, but the background of that salon, one way they show things on social media is totally different from what's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And my clients started saying stuff to me, and it's like, me, I can handle it. And I would I'd be like, hey, you're going to talk about me? Come to me and talk to me. Like, don't talk about me behind my back. Like, I'm 30-some years old. I don't have time for this. I am not about this. And, I think that kind of helped shut it down on my end, but I would see it happening to the other girls, and I'd be like, do not let them talk to you that way. That is not okay. We are grown adults. Like, shut the mean girl shit down. Like, I would try. So then it became a thing where my clients were coming to me and being like, I walk in here and I just feel like I don't belong. And they weren't, if you walked through the door, nobody would speak a word to you. You wouldn't know where to go. You wouldn't know who to see, like where the bathroom was, nothing. So I was like, this is not okay. So I started falling out of love with hair, and then I started kind of having a clientele that was starting to I don't know if it was maybe more of the salon atmosphere, but they were starting to not show up when they were supposed to. And all these things started coming into play. And I was like, screw it. I'm not doing hair anymore. I quit. I'm doing weddings only. That's it. I literally packed my shit up. I was like focusing on weddings, blah, blah, blah. Reached out to another girl that worked at that salon and was like, she didn't work there anymore, but I had reached out to her and I was like, hey, what are you doing for makeup now? And we kind of came in together and paid rent at a little mini spot off Baxter Road. And that's how kind of Bloom came about. We were like, let's just have separate businesses, but look like a team so brides want to hire us. And then that went crazy and that just didn't work out. And so...
Which I think is kind of, it's interesting because as you know, hindsight is always 20/20. So whenever you're reflecting on it, it ended up being a perpetual cycle of what we always say, like you can lead a horse to water, but for God's sakes, you cannot make them drink it. And I think that it's really important to note that like all of these situations have had a hand in helping you create not only Bloom, but the whole You Can Sit With Us movement.
Yes.
Or You Can Bloom With Us, rather. So for the You Can Bloom With Us events, we know why you're doing it, but what really is the driving force or how do you get your inspiration for each event and what's coming up next?
So my drive is to help bring like-minded individuals together, women especially. Men, I don't leave you out either, but that's what drove me first, is to bring people together and to keep pushing that we are better together. And I want women to feel good, like really, really good about themselves. And like, there was one event that really hit home for me. There was a girl that was a part of it, and she actually cried at the event because she felt a certain way. And just to see that there are other women out there that feel that way, or we can all come together and feel good. It's hard to self-love, but once you start learning it, it's just like this amazing thing. And then a support group behind that is really important. So the events grew from us doing like Galentine's Day and all this other stuff. And then I want to really, really support local business, especially right now. It's crazy. So our next event coming up is it's going to be on Earth Day, April 22nd. And we are going to do like a vendor, why can't I think?
Well, I mean, it's more or less...
A vendor event.
For sure. It's kind of like a...
A market?
An expo?
Yes.
You could say. Definitely like an expo, but a little bit more farmer's market-y because it's not huge.
Yes. So expo, farmer's market style, convention. Yes. So pretty much trying to get local businesses out there, trying to introduce them to more people to help kind of us all create and build a environment, a safe environment together and be like, hey, nice to meet you. Yes, all work together and meet new people. And so the event is we're going to start with an Earth Day cleanup. We're probably going to go to the beach somewhere, clean up, have video and photography of the whole thing. Then we're going to come back. Vendors are going to be able to set up their tents. Some vendors aren't even going to be here. They're just going to do like little giveaways, and we're going to do a live raffle online, and we'll have a raffle here too. We are raising money for autism awareness. Aid Another. Christine here in Virginia Beach, she started this really awesome company, so we're raising money for that. All of the events are also, depending on which month it is, we try to find something to raise money towards, like we've done PTSD awareness, things like that, and that's what we put the money to. We don't make any money while we're doing it. We take the money and put it towards charity or whatever our cause is. So we have Earth Day, and then it's Autism Awareness Month, I believe, and we're trying to just put all of this together, and then we're going to come back in the room, and we're still going to do our full-on, like, glam out all the vendors, glam ourselves out, get ready for photos all day. I'm trying to get a food truck out here and maybe a band out here. It'd be really fun, and it's going to be on a Thursday, April 22nd. It'll be an all-day event for the vendors and the people involved, but you'll be able to shop from like 4 to 7, 4 to 8. So when you get off work, you can come through. We don't want to take away from anything else on your weekend, so we're kind of trying to make it like just a little different Earth Day, share the love of the world.
So you said that some of the raffles will be drawn online, but would you be able to shop online? Will there be any like...
Ooh, I mean, probably. So It really will depend on the vendors if they want to be able to be like,
Open it up to
yeah.
a link or whatever.
Yeah, so like our last event, what we did is we had each vendor come up online they had their own time, and it was like at 10 a.m. it was going to be Bloom Beauty Bar. And we went and talked about Bloom online, and then we were like, we have this available. The raffle is usually like $1 buy-in, and you do it through Venmo, and then you put what you want to win.
Okay.
So kind of stuff like that. And if they want to shop online, I'm sure the vendors could kind of figure that out, or will figure it out. So I'm super excited.
So at what point do you think, because what day is it? It's like March, or no, it's not. It's February 20-ish? Yeah. Okay, so we're filming in advance. Sorry, it's not live. So at what point will you be able to announce all the vendors and who's going to be included and all that stuff so we can all prep?
Well, I should ask Sam that. We have a ton of vendors, which is super exciting already. The first day that we put it out, we probably had over 30 vendors reach out to us like, hey, we want to be a part, which makes me super excited because that means Bloom's growing. And people want to be a part, and I want to be a part and learn about them. And so I don't have a date for that yet, but we will have the vendors out sooner than later.
Perfect. And we can just find it on your Instagram.
Sam, my social media girl, she'll have all the stuff. Like, we'll have it out where everybody can find it. We won't make it difficult. Try not to, anyway.
Darling and Dapper will be there. We'll totally be one of the vendors.
And Cryo Spa, right?
And Cryo Spa, of course. He doesn't know yet, but he's fine. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up a little bit, but I do want to go over the most exciting feature that we have left out thus far. Bloom, etc.
I'm so excited.
Tell me all the things. What is it, and what's your timeline, and what can we all expect from it?
All right, so Bloom, etc. came about because Bloom is already like a place of trying to help people grow in their career. And I wanted to expand that a little bit, give them more of an expansion to grow. And we needed a place to do our podcast.
As much as we love it here.
Yeah, we do love it.
A lot of blow dryers.
Beautiful. However, if we had our own space, it would be really cool. So my idea is to have suites. So you as a business owner will have your suite, and you'll have your individual suite. I only have 3 left available.
So who can we expect to have in these spaces or suites?
So essentially anybody that wants to run their own business, if you want to come talk to me about it, I also can help you like get the start of starting your own business, or if you already have your own business but you need more space or your own space, these are essentially going to be 10 by 10s, and you'll have your own door, bathroom, everything else. So I'm just thinking, if you do lashes, spray tans, brows, hairstylists,
Meeting space in general.
Which we have an idea for that coming too, hopefully.
So many exciting things.
It works. So yeah, we're hoping for end of April. So taking retainers now, only 3 spots left. And you get to be a part of our Bloom events. I also do pay for advertising and social media, which is also really cool. We also give pretty good advice together.
Oh, we're magical starters of business.
Yes, you
our
will
forte.
not be left alone. There's no surprise when you're jumping into this. So,
And speaking of which, we have a lot of people that, like us, are starting podcasts and doing that sort of venture. So let's talk a little bit about that.
So our front booth is going to be No Competition podcast. We needed a space, like I said before, to do our podcast, and that there's not a bunch of background noise. We love everybody in here, but we need that space. And so we were like, well, we're not going to always be using that spot.
As much as I would love to do this 24/7.
Yes, it's not feasible. We have our own other businesses going. So we are going to be renting this space out. Video, audio, hourly, and maybe a membership.
Yep. All the things. Hair and makeup if you want to do the video, but you want to look all done up, or just, not homeless. We can help with all of that.
Exactly. And that's like down to if you're a vlogger, a blogger, influencer.
Just to create content for...
Creating.
That too. It's a new thing.
Creating content. There's so many really cool things, and everything's going to already be in there.
Yeah. Equipment, everything will be just... one price for renting it for the day or, monthly membership, like we said, anything.
Super excited about that. So, good things to come.
So I know I said I wanted to wrap up, but I did have one pressing question for you, just to get the whole spectrum of Leiah. Knowing what you know now, if you met yourself as a younger stylist way back when, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
Oh, gosh. Wow. Don't let anyone take control. It's your business. Run it as such. Have control over that and know that it's your business and you're running it. You can be nice to people. However, don't let them walk all over you, because once you start letting that happen, it's going to always happen. Also, to know that just keep pushing, and education is the number one. There's this one thing called knowledge kills fear, and I 100% believe in that. There were times that I didn't know what I was doing. And the more I educate myself, yes, it costs money, and sometimes it's a lot of money. However, I can now trust in myself to do what I need to do. So, education, don't worry about the mean girls, because we're changing that. And just always trust in your business and what you want to do with it. Just go with it and adjust as it goes. Don't let it bring you, stop you. There's always it's always changing. So you just got to keep up with the change and educate yourself.
Perfect. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next time for our episode, 1.5, I think is what it's going to be. Have an amazing day.
Like below.